Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I am Cryptic Coil. In today's video, I'm going to do another book haul. But real quick to my viewers and subscribers, to the regulars, I think that my channel is going to be a little bit more active over the next week or so, maybe even a little bit further. The reason why is because I want to knock out some book reviews pretty soon. Also, Old School April's here, and even though I'm not officially participating with, Kelsey from Slime and Slashers and that whole crowd, uh, I'm probably gonna do some stuff on my own just to celebrate and participate and take part in the fun. So even though I'm not on the Blue Barracudas or whatever the other teams might be, I'm just going to participate on my own and have some fun with it. Maybe next year I might be in a position to sign up and be a part of a team. And if I could be a part of a team, I'd want to be a part of Elizabeth Sagewood's team. But unfortunately, this year I definitely cannot commit. So I might make a video about that, what I'll be reading and watching and making time to enjoy. But for the sake of this video, let me jump into the book haul. So I do have a duplicate. I did pick up a duplicate this week when I went thrift shopping yesterday. Yesterday was Friday, and I tend to go thrift shopping on Fridays and see what I can find out there. So I found another copy of Hawks Harbor by Susan E. Hinton. And this is a book that came out in 2016. And in one of my most recent book hauls, no, 2016, I meant 2024, I'm sorry. But it looks like this paperback was from 2005. I picked up a copy of this in one of my most recent book hauls, but it was kind of beat up. This one is in much better condition. This one is a lot closer to near mint than the copy that I originally picked up. So I couldn't resist. I mean, it was $2. I just couldn't pass it up because it's in superior condition. So I went ahead and picked that up. And then as far as any other duplicates go, I do have two other duplicates, but they're duplicates with the caveats. So as some of you know, my point horror collection has really grown, and among my point horror books, I have this copy of The Waitress by Sinclair Smith. And yesterday, when I went thrift store shopping, I picked up a French copy called Chez Trixie by Sinclair Smith, and it's in French. And I happen to be learning French at the moment. I've been doing Duolingo for about 6-7 months now, and I'm doing well. I have a good streak going. I hardly ever miss a day, but once in a while, life just catches up to me, and I got to get better. I mean, I got to get better, but I am learning French, which is why it's also cool that I have this copy of Sinclair Smith's Dream Date. And as some of you may know, I now have two copies of Dream Date because I did an online haul however long ago, and then in my second most recent book haul video, I picked up this copy. So this is a duplicate, but I also now, my bad, sorry about that. I also now happen to have one in French, and this one is called Rêve Fatale. And yeah, it's in French. And I just so happened to find it at a thrift store here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. All right. And then in my most recent book haul, some of you might remember, if you saw that video, that I picked up this vintage Appleback copy of Help, I'm Trapped in My Teacher's Body. Well, I found another one, and I talked about that in that video. I found this one called Help, I'm Trapped in a Vampire's Body, which is like way more up my alley, okay? And this one is in fantastic condition, and even though I was probably a little too old for books like this when it came out, because this came out in the year 2000. In 2024, this is definitely considered vintage. So I'm super excited to have this and add it to the collection, and I even hope to get around to reading it. Okay, so there are those books. Oh, and then I actually do have another duplicate. In one of my more recent book haul videos, I picked up a copy of The Music of Dolphins, and but and it was kind of an older copy, but it was a little bit it wasn't perfect. It wasn't atrocious. I mean, it was in good enough condition for as far as I was concerned. But I found this copy, and it's like in mint condition, and it's got an alternate cover, and it's called The Music of Dolphins by Karen Hesse, and it's another vintage Apple paperback. Apparently, the author was a Newbery medalist in 1998. Let me just look at the copyright page real quick. Yeah, so this book originally came out in 1996, and this might even be the original cover. I'm not even sure, but this is like in mint condition, and I don't see any other copyrights on this copyright page. So for all I know, this could be the original printing. I don't know, but I'm super stoked to have this. The copy that I picked up a while back, that will be my reading copy, because I do want to read this, because I could kill this in like a sitting easy. All right, so now let's go ahead and move on to the rest of my stuff. So I picked up a copy of Richard Bachman's The Regulators. I grew up with a copy of this book in the living room on the bookshelf. My father gave me his collection some years ago, because he transitioned from physical media to digital media. And I kept the Stephen King books that he gave me that I wanted, and then I sold the rest on eBay. And at the time, I kind of needed the money. I sort of regret doing that now, but I found this at a thrift store yesterday for $4, and it's in like pretty good condition. The spine is like 100% healthy, and the dust jacket is pretty healthy too. It's not too beat up or anything. So I'm super stoked to have this one. This is The Regulators by Richard Bachman, which was Stephen King's pen name, as most of you will know. So I'm actually really happy to have this. Let's see. I'm gonna get like the non-horror stuff out of the way. There's not that many non-horror books. In fact, I believe I only have two non-horror books. So let me just knock these out of the way. So this is a Point book, and it's called The President's Daughter. And this is kind of beat up. The spine is in okay condition. I believe that this copy can endure a couple of readings, but if I'm not gentle with it, the cover could be in danger. This was printed in 1984, and the title is The President's Daughter by Ellen Emerson White. I don't know if I've ever heard of that author or not, but let me read the tagline on the front and the synopsis on back. So the tagline on the front reads, "The President's Daughter Wants Her Old Life Back." And you can look at that cover, and I really like how the title played into the tagline. I just kind of have a thing for books that have that. I just think it's cool and kind of clever and kind of creative. I dig it. Now I'll read the synopsis on back. Meg didn't ask to live in the White House. 16-year-old Megan Powers likes her life just the way it is. She likes living in Massachusetts. She likes her school. And she has plenty of friends. But all that is about to change, because Meg's mother, one of the most prestigious senators in the country, is running for president, and she's going to win. Now Meg and her whole family have moved to Washington, D.C. to live in their new house, the White House. Meg and her brother are being escorted to school by Secret Service agents, and reporters won't leave them alone. Meg's tired of being in the national spotlight, but how can she tell her mother she hates being the president's daughter? And this is pretty cool. There was a movie that came out in the 90s called First Kid, and it was about the son of the sitting U.S. president, and how he didn't really enjoy being the president's son because it really took away from his childhood, and he just wanted to be a kid. And that was a really cool movie. It was kind of popular. I think that, like myself, Slime and Slashers, Cameron Chaney, I think that all the people like in our age group probably enjoyed that movie in the 90s. And this book sounds reminiscent of that, except this is from the 80s, and instead of the president having a son, the president has a daughter in this one, and it's not even a sitting president in this one. And then Cameron, no, Kirk Douglas, he played in a movie called The American President, where he was a single father or like a widower, raising a daughter, and she was like the first daughter. And I had a major crush on the girl who played his daughter. Her name was Shauna Waldron. I used to be friends with her on MySpace back in the day, and she even wished me a happy 21st birthday. She left a comment on my page. It was cool. So this just kind of reminds me of that whole scene in literature, and so I'm excited to have this one. And then I have one more non-horror book, and it's a vintage Apple paperback called Amy Moves In by Marilyn Sachs. And here's the cover, and I don't know if that's a little boy or a little girl because the haircut could like go either way, especially as old as this cover looks. But the tagline on the front reads, "It's tough being the new kid on the block." And here's what the cover looks like. And I'll go ahead and read the summary on back, or synopsis, whatever you want to call it. Sorry. Will Amy ever be happy in her new neighborhood? At first, Amy is really excited about moving. Then she begins to realize that it's going to be harder than she thought. She doesn't know any of the kids. There's a new school to get used to. And on top of that, there's that mean-looking dog that lives in her building. But it's not easy to stay miserable for long in a neighborhood where something exciting always seems to be happening. And that sounds, kind of cool. I can definitely relate. I moved around a lot as a kid. And this book was originally copyrighted in 1964. And it looks like this was printed in 1965. So this is like older than my parents. But that's pretty cool because the cover is in good condition. The spine's in good condition. There's a lot of yellowing. I suspect a little tiny bit of water damage. I hope that's water. Good gosh, I hope that's water. Then let's get into the rest of my horror. Give me just a sec. Okay, so I have a point horror book that I found. I found 2 copies in one day at the same thrift store. I found this copy of Teacher's Pet, and it is beat up. I mean, it is beat up bad, but I went ahead and picked it up anyway. I mean, look at that cover. Gosh. And then there's writing on the inside. Yeah, this is kind of rough. I mean, the spine is pretty healthy. I think that if I just put some like, I guess like Scotch tape. No, not Scotch tape, like packing tape, I guess. Right here to kind of keep the cover from being ripped off. That would work. Then I found another copy of the same book, Teacher's Pet by Richie Tankersley Cusick, and I did not own this copy. I only have a few Richie Tankersley Cusick books. I have like Vampire, The Locker, and The Lifeguard. I think those are the only 3 books from her that I have. Well, one of the Buffy books that Shadyside Library sent me last year. This one is in much better condition, and I have no idea which one is the first printing or the second printing, but this book is in much better condition. Um, yeah, I just have, I want to say this is the first printing, but the reason why I picked up both copies is because the font is different. Oh, I think that this might be the first printing. And then the one that I have is a reprint from Apple, or not Apple, Scholastic. I don't even know. I'm talking out of my rear end, but because the covers are slightly different, I went ahead and just decided to pick up both. Many of you would have done the same in my shoes. Then I picked up this copy of Christopher Pike's Tales of Terror off of eBay. And this thing is in like almost mint condition. The only flaw is that there's a little bit of paint missing along the spine here. I have no idea what that's all about, but otherwise, I'm pretty certain this copy has never been read. And I did not ever once in my life own a copy of this book. So I'm really happy to have this one in my collection. Now I think I just need, and Shadyside Library was in these shoes not too long ago himself. The only Christopher Pike book that he really needed was Tales of Terror number 2. This is Tales of Terror number 1. And then he has a fantasy series, like some girl walking through the forest with an ogre or something. I'm not really into that kind of thing. So if I find them out in the wild, I'll pick them up if the price is right. But I'm not really into fantasy all that much. So as far as I'm concerned, Tales of Terror number 2 is the only book left that I need in order to complete my Christopher Pike collection. Well, and then, some of the Spooksville books, of course. But other than that, yeah, I'm super stoked to have this. Let's see. And we're getting close to the end, guys. So I found this book by Dan Pawlowski. And I think that Shadyside Library featured this author not too long ago in one of his videos titled The Future of Middle Grade Horror. And I found another Dan Pawlowski book. I'm not sure how many I have, but I do have at least a couple others. And this one is called Shadow House. And this is really cool. There's an endorsement from R.L. Stine on the cover. This is a hardback copy. And there's even some step back art. So look at the cover. You see this girl. She looks like she's from another time with a vintage oval shaped mirror. And then you open the cover and you get that photo of the same girl. I believe that's the same girl anyway. And so that just one, it looks super, super cool. You gotta admit, it looks super cool. And then it's also kind of eerie, kind of creepy. Okay, that's what we're here for. Okay, that's why we're here. And so I'm really happy about that. I will go ahead and read the tagline and the R.L. Stine endorsement and the synopsis on back. First, let me read the R.L. Stine endorsement. Shadow House has everything I love: strange characters, magic, and the supernatural, endless danger and adventure, and a mystery I dare any reader to try to solve. R.L. Stine, author of Goosebumps. And the tagline on the front reads, "Knock knock, who's dead?" And there's something interesting going on the cover and on the spine. It says The Gathering right here. And The Gathering is actually one of my favorite bands. They're a gothic metal band from the Netherlands. I really like the work they did with their first singer, Anneke van Giersbergen. You should totally check them out if you haven't. They have a dope song called Strange Machines. I would start there. But anyway, It says The Gathering right here. Then it says The Gathering on the spine right there. And then it also says number 1. So I guess this must be a series. So before I read the summary on or the synopsis on back, let me look at the copyright page to see when this came out. So this came out in 2016. There might be some more books in this series by now. I'm guessing because it says number 1 on the spine right there. So now let me read the summary on back. Shadow House is calling you. Some houses are more than just haunted. They're hungry. Dash, Dylan, Poppy, Marcus, and Azumi don't know this at first. They each think they've been summoned to Shadow House for innocent reasons. But there's nothing innocent about Shadow House. Something within its walls is wickedly wrong. Nothing and nobody can be trusted. Hallways move, doors vanish, ghosts appear, children disappear, and the way out? That's disappeared too. Enter Shadow House if you dare. Don't just read Shadow House. Step inside with the free Shadow House app. Each image in the book reveals a haunting in the app where the choices you make determine your fate. Scholastic.com/shadowhouse. Okay. That sounds pretty interesting. And this looks like an easy read. The font is pretty big. It's double spaced. Look at these pages. So this was a really cool find. I was super happy to find that one. And I believe I have 2 more. So this next one is by Kieran Scott, and it's called What Waits in the Water. And look at the cover. I really like it. You know, it gives me some I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of vibes based on the cover, except I think that the characters might be a few years younger than the college-age crowd that was in I Know What You Did Last Summer. At least the movie, not the Lois Duncan book. And the tagline on the front reads, "Take a dip if you dare." And the synopsis on back reads, "When she looked out at the lake again, the thing was gone. All that was left of it was a series of tiny ripples in the water." Hannah is excited to spend the weekend with her best friend, Jacob, at his family's lake house. The catch? Her annoying new stepsister, Katie, is tagging along. Wild, pretty Katie, who seems to have a crush on Jacob. Hannah's not jealous. Or is she? But soon jealousy is the least of Hannah's problems. The lake they're staying on is creepy. Really creepy. Rumors swirl about mysterious drownings, supposed creatures, and some kind of curse. Hannah isn't sure what to believe. But one dark night, a local girl gets viciously sucked under the water, right in front of Hannah's eyes. Did she drown? Or was she murdered? Should Hannah be worrying about what's in the lake or the people who are with her? And can she figure out the truth before time runs out? And that sounds like a really fun read. I like it. Because, you know, water is kind of scary. Let's be real. And this was copyrighted in 2017. So that's pretty cool. And last but not least, I found this copy of Madeleine Rue's Asylum. Look at that cover. You know, that's kind of a cool looking cover. It looks kind of eerie, looks kind of creepy, but also looks kind of classy and elegant at the same time. And the tagline on the front reads, "Prepare to be lost in asylum." And the tagline plays into the title of the book, which I just think is really cool. In my copy, there's a bonus spine-tingling sneak peek to Sanctum, which I'm guessing must be Madeleine Rue's next book. This was printed by Harper Books. And real quick, let me look at the copyright page. This was copyrighted in 2013, so it's over a decade old. And the first paperback edition was 2014. So, I mean, this is over a decade old at this point. Now, let's go ahead and read the synopsis on back and then wrap up the video. Dark, twisted, magnificence, brilliant, raves the New York Times best-selling author Heather Brewer. Never heard of Heather Brewer, but she gave this a glowing endorsement. Once you get in, there's no getting out. For 16-year-old Dan Crawford, the New Hampshire college prep program is the chance of a lifetime. Except that when Dan arrives, he finds that the usual summer housing has been closed, forcing students to stay in the crumbling Brookline dorm, formerly a psychiatric hospital. As Dan and his new friends Abby and Jordan start exploring Brookline's twisty halls and hidden basement, they uncover disturbing secrets about what really went on here. Secrets that link Dan and his friends to the asylum's dark past. Because it turns out Brookline was no ordinary psych ward, and there were some secrets that refused to stay buried. Featuring haunting found photographs from real asylums, this mind-bending reading experience blurs the lines between past and present friendship and obsession, genius and insanity. And don't miss the spine-tingling sequel, Sanctum. Okay. Yeah, so I found some pretty cool books this week too. I'm pretty excited about this haul. I think that the French copies of the Sinclair Smith books were, pretty dope. I'm really glad I found a really cool copy of The Music of Dolphins, and it seems like it's a vintage copy. The Stephen King book was super cool. The Christopher Pike one, it feels good. It feels like a bucket list book. The Richie Tankersley Cusick book, Teacher's Pet. I'm just really excited to add another, not only point horror book, but Richie Tankersley Cusick book to my collection. I'm really glad that I found a vintage Apple paperback from the 60s in such exquisite condition. I also really like The Help, I'm Trapped in a Vampire's Body, because that's like totally up my alley. And then Shadow House and Asylum were also super cool finds. And and then the Susan E. Hinton book, Hawks Harbor, in such good condition. I was really glad to find that as well. And then I did pick up a couple of DVDs. The only one that I have on hand right now is called The Dark. And this came out like in the year 2003 or something. So at this, or 2005 or something, 2004. So this thing is barely vintage, but it sounds like it had a really good plot. And I look forward to reading this one or watching this as well. And then I also picked up Stephen King's Salem's Lot on DVD, but that's a book that I was supposed to have buddy read with Shadyside Library, but I haven't been able to commit to sit down and reading it. But I hope to get to it sometime soon, and then I'll watch the movie. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought of this book haul in the comment section below. Horns up, peace out.